Moving on to the next eminent personality that we have today, we have Dr. Jayakumar Velayudham, who is a psychiatrist with an MD in psychiatry, and he's a chief psychiatrist at WOW Mind and Behavioral Clinic. Dr. Jayakumar has over 9 years of experience in India and abroad, and today he's going to talk on the topic suicide amongst students, a tragedy that must be prevented. So here's a quick statistics. Okay, it seems as per a survey, there is one student killing himself every hour in India. And on a daily basis, there are about 28 students committing suicide. I mean, when I heard this number, I was really shocked. As a parent and as a teacher, as a mentor, you must be wondering, why do these students, commit suicide, and what goes on in their minds, that makes them, take this decision, and most importantly, what can we do to prevent this? So let's have Dr. Jayakumar to talk on this.
So today we are celebrating World Suicide Prevention Day. That is on September 10th. 2020. It's what we are celebrating, and to commemorate that, we are using this opportunity today to have this webinar on behalf of WOW, and we are going to explore the topic of suicide and suicide prevention from various angles. And I am going to focus now on student suicide prevention. So that's what my area today I'm going to talk about. So now we see that a number of students, especially youngsters and youth, teenagers, are attempting or committing suicide, and that has been on the rise. So look at the mortality is very high. If we look at the cause of deaths in the young, suicide is one of the most important causes of death in youngsters. And even during these COVID times, we see a lot of people have actually attempted or committed suicide due to various reasons. Even I came across one particular news in which a young girl in Kerala committed suicide because she didn't have a smartphone. And so she couldn't study. She's a very intelligent girl, and she's a poor laborer's girl, and she couldn't study, and she did that particular act. So these kind of things happen. So how do we prepare for this? How do we prevent suicide? First, let me tell briefly about some of the risk factors for suicide. How will you understand or identify somebody who might actually attempt suicide? One is loss of social support. Somebody who has lost a family or lost his friends. Somebody who has lost some significant person in his life. It could be a father or mother, death of a person, or it could be a relationship breakdown. It could be, say, love failure, or it could be a threat, like job loss or financial loss, or it could be like, some legal problem. Say somebody is arrested for the first time, or somebody becomes mentally ill for the first time, and they become disillusioned about life. So mental illness could be a reason why somebody commits or attempts suicide. Somebody has, say, psychosis. Somebody has depression or anxiety disorder. Somebody, like, say, loses hope. This hopelessness is a hallmark of or a precursor for suicide. Somebody is suicidal before committing or attempting, he becomes absolutely hopeless. Or embarrassment, or some kind of a financial problem, usually, say, financial legal problems or financial problems. The money lenders, usually what we say Kanduvadi in Tamil. So that is also a big problem which will compel people to attempt suicide. So how will you identify somebody who's potential candidate for suicide? Somebody has a previous history of suicidal attempt, then it's very more likely that he might attempt again. Somebody has a mental disorder, say depression or schizophrenia, then again, there's more likely that he or she might actually attempt suicide. Somebody is using alcohol, say drugs, again, very high chance that they might go in for suicide attempts. Somebody is very hopeless about life. So that is as I said, a hallmark of indicator of suicide. Or somebody is very aggressive, so very violent. So history of violence itself is a risk factor for somebody committing suicide. Somebody is under a lot of trauma in their life. This could be physical trauma, it could be sexual trauma, it could be emotional trauma. Somebody has multiple trauma in his life. There is very high chance that they might actually attempt suicide. Somebody has a family history. Suicide is partly genetic. It's a biopsychosocial model. Like everything in psychiatry, suicide also follows a biopsychosocial model. There are a lot of biological factors. Somebody has a family history, which means there is a genetic loading. So many of the problems of suicide are not just social or not just psychological, they're also biological. They have shown that serotonin is less in their brain, so etc. Or they might be having a long-standing, say, a physical problem which can cause suicide. Or they may have stigma. They may think that going to a psychiatrist is a very bad thing. That means I'm a gone case. I'm a lunatic. I am a mental. That kind of people don't want to go to psychiatrist or want to talk about psychiatric or mental illness. Even in today, in 2020 also, this situation prevails. So that stigma could stop somebody from seeking help. And exposure to suicidal behaviors through media, as everyone was talking about celebrity suicide. So that is another problem. Like when celebrities commit suicide, people emulate them or try to copycat suicides are a problem. I remember in Chennai, the actress called Monal committed suicide. Then three fans committed suicide. Like that, it has happened many times. It was also told like when Ek Duje Ke Liye was a big hit because both lovers commit suicide at the end. Many people at that time attempted suicide when that movie was being broadcast. So these kind of media can have a very negative influence. So proper reporting of suicide in media is very important. Or a job loss or a stressful life event, and access is a very important thing. If you have an access to a lethal means, for example, say you have a lot of tablets, sleeping tablets available at home, or say you have organophosphorus, pesticide compounds available in your field or in your village, in your agricultural land or in your shop. Now they even buy pesticides online. So that could be a real problem when people easily get access to a lethal thing. Firearms again. Luckily in India, it's not so much a problem, but in some other, say, Western countries, say USA, the firearm problem is a big problem. Okay, because they have an access to the firearm, to the gun. We don't have that access. So what will protect you from committing suicide? What will counter your suicide is your family, your community support, your own skills in problem solving, your own life skills. If you can enhance your life skills, your own beliefs, especially your religious beliefs, and can prevent suicide. Many religions consider it as sin, like that. So people who have very strong religious do not attempt suicide because they know that it's against their particular religion. So that is one way of protecting yourself from suicide. And again, I said, restrict the access. This restricting the access plays in several ways. For example, if you have guns in USA, they keep it in locked places, locked lockers and all that. And similarly, now the pesticides are supposed to be kept in locked in India. Yeah, they're supposed to be locked. And again, the medicines, the tablets which are being provided has to be supervised, has to be, especially the psychiatric medications, which can be used for killing oneself. So that has to be highly monitored and strictly supervised. So these are some of the ways we can decrease the prevalence of, and we have to decrease the stigma. When if you have psychiatry, if you have a fever, if you have a body pain, you go see a doctor. Similarly, if you have a psychological problem, go and consult a psychologist or a psychiatrist. What's wrong in that? So that attitude has to come in the public. So if you want to prevent suicide, first you have to talk about suicide. So you can talk about suicide. So many people are afraid to talk about suicide or are even asked to ask a direct question about suicide because they think that by asking that question, you are going to implant that idea in the mind of the person. But that is not so. Studies, research has clearly shown that you cannot implant an idea of suicide in anybody. You can only discover which is already existing. So there is nothing wrong. And in fact, you have to ask any potential candidate the direct question, do you have a suicidal idea? Do you have a death wish? You can build up to that. You can ask, how do you feel about life? How's your mood? Are you feeling sad? Well, how is life? And if it's so bad, and then you, at some point you have to ask, have you ever thought about ending it? That question has to be there in somebody who is interviewing. They're wrong. Now talking prevention. Now who is going to prevent the suicide of the student? The first, so there are several people who will come into play in the picture now when I'm talking about suicide prevention. First is the family. The family is the first thing that has to try and prevent suicide. Next is friends, the positive friends, the good friends. When I talk about friends, there are bad friends and there are lot of kinds of friends. But the real good friends can be really positive and prevent suicide. The mentors, somebody who he looks up to, like say a good teacher, they can support the student from committing suicide. His own activities, healthy activities, somebody gets involved in sports, so that will keep him more fit and mentally fit also. Or say somebody enjoys his hobby, say his music or his writing or drawing or painting. He kind of enjoys his own self expression and all that. He has ways to do that. Then that is going to decrease the chance of somebody actually attempting suicide, because that is giving the meaning to his life. Somebody is generous, altruistic. You have to develop this feeling of altruism. You have to help others. We are all in this together. And so helping each other, we can decrease suicide. Spirituality, the belief in God or belief in a higher power, definitely will help you to decrease suicide attempts and all that. Medical access has to be there. Only if there's an access to doctor or something, then we can decrease the suicide. Then mental health access to psychiatrists, access to psychologists, counselors, advisors. So that part again is very important, and that may be lacking in our large country like India. That may be very good in the cities, but if you go to peripheries or villages and all that, this mental health aspect is going to come down. There are very less psychiatrists or psychologists available, and so that is one problem we have to overcome. Like we have to train or to bring more psychiatrists, make them available, psychologists, and make them available in the everywhere, not just focus in the cities, but even in the villages or peripheries. Now, talking about a school or a college, you have to first identify a staff who a student will feel very friendly towards. There are few staff who will be very friendly and cheerful, bubbly and all that, and the students can easily open up to that particular staff or teacher. But they cannot open up to some other teacher. When you know that this particular teacher is very friendly with the students, then you identify this particular teacher who is very good with students and who is very friendly and who is very approachable, and train them to in suicide prevention, to just identify and then talk to them and then refer. So that is the work they have to do. So those staff has to be identified. And we cannot just rely on services inside the institute or college or school, but we need to rely on counselors, hospitals, clinics, mental health organizations outside the school. So you have to link the school counselor or the school teacher will link with this student with that particular mental health organization or a psychologist or a psychiatrist there. Then he will link them with that particular person and get the proper services rendered. Now, what do you do when you see somebody? very suicidal or very depressed, and you know that is very sad and all that. And what do? Now, first thing is you say, I care. You express your concern and care first. You tell them, you look at them and say, I care for you. Then you say, I can see that there's something wrong in you, or you're dull, or you're depressed, or I'm noticing certain things. Then I feel a bit worried, that something might happen to you. I'm very concerned about you. And then you have to listen. Now you tell me what is happening in your life. You just tell me, open up. And then ask a direct question. Have you been thinking of suicide or hurting yourself? Don't hesitate. Ask that question. And then you say, I want you to talk to a school counselor, or or come, we'll go and make an appointment with a psychiatrist or a school counselor or a psychologist, and I'll come with you for that. And I'll keep in touch with you. And that is the kind of support you have to give to the person who is contemplating suicide. Then he would that people are there around, and he would not actually attempt suicide. So many individuals struggling with, say, depression or anger or trauma, they can find hope in spirituality, and that can give them a new path in life. So spirituality is a very it's a good thing that could be anti-suicidal prescription. So people have to go in some spiritual line, and that's a welcome thing. And one has to involve himself in some kind of activity, like sports, like as I already said, like art or music, and that can help a particular person. I already talked about altruism. You can be helping someone, like you can be involved with, say, orphanage, and help with the orphanage, or say a cleaning activity in the community, or some kind of a group activity, or say a group exercise, some yoga together. All of us friends together, we do yoga, or all relatives together, we do on say Zoom yoga, and that kind of a thing can have that connectivity. The connectivity has to be there in the person, and therapies are available. Medications are there. If you go to a psychiatrist, he might prescribe. If you are depressed or something, he might give you a medication. Other therapies, talking therapies are there, cognitive therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, and these kind of therapies are there, which will address your cognitive distortion, your thought process, which is gone wrong, your thinking errors, and it will correct those thinking errors, right? So those kind of therapies have to be, can be administered to the suicidal individual. And somebody finds a friend, or somebody you finds in a suicidal person in a school, you have to involve other people. Like you have to involve the parents, the friend, the faculty, the school principal. Everybody has to be involved. It cannot be a secretive affair. Even he might have told you that this is a secret, I'm telling you, don't tell anyone. Doesn't mean you have to not tell anyone, but still you have to go ahead and tell everyone. That is suicidal, because here the concept of confidentiality does not apply. Considering the dangerousness of this particular situation, there is no confidentiality, or there is no secrecy as such. So one thing is important is, so the friends, and again, alcohol can ask somebody to push somebody into suicide thinking. And this concept of leader is very important. Once you find somebody, you listen, you empathize, you affirm, then you direct them, you enlist them, and then you refer them. First is listen to them, empathize with them, like understand them, affirm them. Okay, I understand you. Then direct them, say this can be done, this can be done. Enlist them. Enlist means tell them not to commit suicide. Ask them to take the decision now, that agreement, and then refer them to. So that is the leader designed to prevent suicide. These warning signs, I think I've already talked about. Somebody is dull and all that. That's a warning sign. Think positive. Parental support is very important. Social support is important. Suicide helplines are there. Sneha and in Chennai, or Tamil Nadu government has a 104 helpline. Helplines can be very useful. They can delay and they can prevent suicide. Use helplines. So many departments and apps are available. Stay Alive, Maitri app, Code Blue. Some apps are available for suicide prevention. Use them. So three things are there: intervention, prevention, and resilience building. Three things have to join, and so many departments, from health to police to everyone has to join hands. Education to prevent suicide. So always have this mantra: ask, listen, refer. These three things you do and never give up. So with this, I wind up this speech and the question open for questions.
Thank you, Doctor. So let me shoot out the first question. I'm going to read it out. Yeah. If a loved one tells me that they want to end their life immediately, what is the first thing I need to do? How can I make them feel better?
No, as I said, you first talk to them. First understand them. Why is that you want to end up your life? What's happening? Try to understand the problem behind the particular statement, and then say, as I said, leader, listen, empathize, affirm, direct, and all that, enlist and refer. So you have to first try to understand the whole thing and then give them options. See, this can be done. This is your problem, but this is not the solution. Death is not the solution, but some other solutions are possible. You can see a psychiatrist, you can see whatever is the problem based on the problem. Say somebody says a love problem, then these are the problems ways to handle it. Say somebody's exam is a problem, then you say, see, the exam is not the end of the life and so many other things can be done. Or, business loss, then you say, okay, this business is not there, you can go for another business. So that kind of a problem solving approach initially, but we cannot go in much detail. You just say that there are options, the possibilities are there. But I know that you're troubled, you're feeling very bad. I can understand that. I am with you, here with you. I support you. And let's make a decision now together, both of us, that we are not going to commit suicide. That is a decision. That is an agreement. That is a promise you're going to make me now. And then I will take you to a professional who will be able to help a little more in this matter. Because I'm a layperson like you, so I cannot do more than this. I will take you to a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a mental professional. So that will be the steps you will be adopting.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. So, what I get the crux of what you said is being generous, be the bridge between that person you love and ask them directly, is suicide in your mind? And then, ensure that you take them to the person who can take that thought out of their mind, give them that guidance. So thank you so much for that. And the next question, your quick thoughts on suicide prevention app that are coming out. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, suicide prevention apps are good. Like I gave examples of few apps, and yeah, they can be used. Like, is there any particular app you want to discuss? Like I talked about My3 and Code Blue and Stay Live. Yeah, those apps are useful, and you can use those apps. Yes, they are in fact useful. Yeah.
Great. So they come handy when.
It's available. Like your Kavalan app, they said you just click the Kavalan, the females can get the police immediately to their access. One click. So like that, possibilities are. We can even design new apps. Wow can design an app, which when just a click and then we'll come and attend to you. That kind of a thing is possible nowadays. Like Kavalan app, you can just in Kavalan app, you just click the Kavalan and immediately the police will ring you and ask you what's happening. You need not call them also. You can just tap and then they will call you. So that's you just have to tap. That's only one click away. Your life, and that is sort of only one. That kind of innovation can be. I'm not sure any apps are available that way now, but possibilities are there that these can be developed. The apps can be useful, very, very useful.
Thank you, Doctor. So last question is, if the person I'm talking to is not receptive at all, is there a number or an expert I can reach out to help me talk to the distressed person?
Yeah, a lot of helplines are there. As I already said, Sneha has a helpline. Our government helpline, I know 104. Just to call 104. they will immediately counsel you, that particular person. And if the situation is very dangerous, they feel they will even refer to 108 or something, and they will even come to your house and do the saving part, So those things also you can call 104. They're doing extraordinary service, especially with regards to suicide. You can call 104, and Tamil Nadu government will do everything in its possibility to help you out. As I said, other NGOs are there. Sneha, one I know in Tamil, in Chennai. But I think all over Chennai, India, there are many helplines available. You just have to Google it. I cannot tell you the numbers as such right now.
Correct. Thank you so much, Doctor. One of the points that really was new to me is when you said, ask them directly is suicide in their point. So I'm sure most of them always thought that if we ask, do we implant that thought in their mind? So I also thought of that. So thank you for that. That was really a new point for me to consider. Thank you, Doctor, that for all these valuable points. I'm sure all of us found it very useful.